everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Rochelle from Rochelle.Handmade.Designs, and in this video I am doing that second install to the series 5 and below. Now before we get started, go ahead and hit the like button, smash that subscribe button, and also turn on the notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a new video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into this video. All right, so you guys know it was last Thursday, we kicked off the video with an announcement video. You could go ahead and see that video on what this series is all about. I'll go ahead and link in the description box below, as well as put in the cards above on that announcement video. Myself as well as Talisha from Creativity by T did announcement videos, so you could check those out. Now last week we did outer garments where Talisha, she sewed Simplicity 9189 as part of her knit outer garment, right? All right, so last week I did a color block blazer woven, right? And I used Butterick 6718. I will go ahead and put Talisha's video in the description box below. And I'll also put my video for last week, the color block blazer, the semi-fitted color block blazer, in the description box below. And you can also look above, look up, and see that video as well. All right, so now every Sunday through April 3rd, myself as well as Talisha from Creativity by T will post a garment both on Instagram and do a pattern review here on YouTube to what we're making. And every single item will be no more than 5 pattern pieces, all right? So this is why the series is called Sewing 5 and Below. Everything we sew will have no more than 5 pattern pieces, right? Now, last week I told you what the series is about, why we're doing it, and all that good stuff. So I'll spare you the details and not go into all of that again. Now, you can also follow the hashtag Sewing 5 and Below on Instagram so you can see what myself as well as Talisha and others, if you are sewing something with 5 pattern pieces or below, go ahead and use the hashtag, tag myself as well as Talisha in your posting so we could like and also share with others who may decide to make the pattern that you have chose. All right. Now, don't forget that the posting times are every Sunday through April 3rd, including April 10th, which will be the season finale, or, you know, the grand finale, the runway show that Talisha and I will be doing for you guys with all of the items that we have sewn, and we will do a really good fashion show for you guys April 10th, so you got to stay tuned for that video as well. All right, so we are posting on YouTube and on Instagram. YouTube will have a pattern review every single week on Sunday, right? And we will post at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time, 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, and 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time each Sunday. So make sure you mark your calendar, make sure you set a reminder, make sure you turn on that notification bell so you will be notified and will not miss any one of these videos because they are good. And so far, this series has been fun. All right. Now, let's go ahead and get right on into this pattern review of what I sewed this week. All right, so this week is tops. And what I made for this top this week is McCall's 8143. Now, I did view B on the pattern simply because I like the elastic casing for the sleeves as well as the band. And it fits the bill because guess what? It's only 4 pattern pieces. And that's why I chose it. So let's go ahead and get right on into the pattern description. All right, so it says that this pattern is a Mrs. Pullover top. View A has contrast quilting or bias binding that you can use for that. View B has the elastic hem, which I did, as well as put elastic at the sleeves as well. And then view C has a hood. Now, the reason why I chose view B instead of any of the other views is because this is the only view which had less than 5 pieces. View A with the quilting had, I want to say 6 pattern pieces, and then view C with the hood, you would have had 6 pattern pieces as well. Now, when we say 5 pattern pieces, that means 5 pattern pieces that you have to cut out of fabric. Buttonhole guide does not count. Elastic guide does not count. You know, those things does not count as far as 5 pattern pieces. 5 pattern pieces is 5 pattern pieces you have to cut out of lining, interfacing, or fabric. That's what we mean when we say 5 pieces or below. Now that I told you about the pattern description, let's go ahead and get into the notion used. All right, so the notions used for this pattern, McCall's 8143, also part of hashtag sewn with McCall's from Minerva. They are doing the sewn with McCall's like they did in January with sewn with New Look. This month, in the month of March, is sewn with McCall's. So this will be hashtag sewn with McCall's as well. But the notions used is just basically thread. And then you need a 9-inch all-purpose zipper or exposed zipper. So right up here, right here, this is called an all-purpose zipper or an exposed zipper. So do not use an invisible zipper for this top, tunic, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you use an exposed zipper. All right, so now that I told you the notions used, let's go ahead and get into the fabric used for this pattern. All right, so for the fabric, of course, on the pattern, it says, literally on the pattern piece, it says for moderate stretch knit. Okay, I did not use moderate stretch knit or knits at all, okay? I did not know it said that because when you look at the back of the pattern, it actually says that you can use fleece, you could use knit fabrics as well. So I opted to use, well, actually it says you can use fleece and flannel and you can use knits as well. So I opted to use this pattern and use flannel. So I use a comfy, cozy flannel from Joann's. The actual fabric is called alloy. So it's like, this is like a gray alloy fabric. I will also put the fabric name and the number from Joann's in the description box below and on the screen as well if you're interested in purchasing this fabric, okay? So this fabric was, I wanna say it was $2.99 a yard. I picked up a total of 3 yards of this fabric and I still have some left. So my daughter wants one of these, so I may make her one, just use a basic top, create the top part, which is the collar, and the zipper area for that, and then, you know, do her exactly like mine. Something similar, I would just have to do a little bit of self-drafting. But that's the fabric used for this pattern. All right. So let's talk about pattern pieces used. So the pattern pieces that you use in order to create this top is just 4. So it was pattern piece number 2, which is the front, pattern piece number 4, which is the back, pattern piece number 6, which was the sleeves, and then pattern piece number 8, which is the collar. Now, I have my tunic open, right? So you can see the zipper area. But you can close it up and put your head down and it will basically serve as a tunic or a pullover top. I love it, okay? I love this, okay? But we'll get there with my likes and dislikes for the pattern as well. All right, so now that I talked about the pattern pieces used, let's talk about the pattern sizing. So this pattern comes in extra small to medium and then large to extra, extra large, I believe. So I picked up the wrong size and I want to say it was good and bad. Okay, so it was bad if I would have cut it out of moderate stretch knit. Reason being is because I would have been cutting it too big. Reason being is because I had the large size, the size range of large to extra large. That's the pattern that I picked up because I did not look at the finished garment measurement on the back of the pattern piece, pattern envelope, right? So I ended up, when this pattern originally came out, I picked it up in the larger size because normally I would always have to pick up the larger size based off of my bust measurement, waist, or hip. I always just opt for picking up the larger size. Now, one thing and one tip I want to tell you, stop doing that. Reason being is because I have found myself having to go back to Joann's to switch out the pattern. So therefore, I always want to tell you, do not look at the back of the pattern envelope. Pull the pattern out of the package and look at the finished garment measurement on the pattern tissue paper. Reason being is because I noticed that the back of the pattern envelope is incorrect as well for the patterns that have been coming out here shortly. I don't know who they hired. No offense to Simplicity, McCall's, Butterick, or anyone. No offense to anyone. But I just want to say that the patterns have been really difficult, and I'm just trying to be really, really nice here. The pattern instructions have been, we go leave that. We go skip that. What the pattern instructions have been. The pattern pieces that you need. I posted a clip yesterday on the pattern pieces for a different pattern. And one thing that I noticed is it did not say all the pattern pieces that you need, but that's a whole different video. And you will see that in another video because I don't want to get off topic, but the pattern sizing that you need, that the pattern sizing is extra small to medium and then large to extra large. The pattern that I cut was a large, and that's the part where it gets good. And the reason why is because, like I said before, if I would have chose a knit fabric, it would have been too big. But because I had chose a flannel fabric, it was perfect. Reason being is because since it calls for moderate stretch knit, and I did not use moderate stretch knit, I used flannel fabric, I needed to go up a size. So I would normally have cut a medium, but I cut a large, and guess what? It fits like a glove. So I am so happy that I had the pattern. I cut the size large. I did not do a test muslin simply because I didn't need to. Reason being is because I know if you use a woven instead of a stretch, you pretty much need to go up a good 5 inches or whatever, not to have that tightness. It's it's boxy loose. I love it. Okay. So that is the size that I cut for this pattern. Let's talk about modifications. Did I make any modifications to this pattern? Nope. There was no need to make any modifications at all because this was supposed to be a super simple sew, which it was, and it took me 2 hours from cutting to sewing, 2 hours total. I cut the fabric, I cut the pattern pieces. It was good to go in 2 hours. All right. So that is the modifications, which was none, that I did for this pattern. All right. So let's talk about, did it look like the photos on the pattern envelope? Yep. You see, like, let me show you the pattern and then I'm going to show you mine. You see that? It looked exactly like the photos and the drawing on the pattern envelope. Okay. No difference. I think it looks exactly like it. All right. Let's get into the instructions. Are the instructions easy to follow? Yes. The instructions for this pattern is easy to follow. Now, other patterns, the source is out for that. Okay. But this pattern, yes, the instructions were easy to follow. However, I believe there was a total of like 10 instructions. Like, it was super simple. Cut the center, make sure that you stitch in between the dots, put on your zipper, attach front to back. I mean, it was super simple to do. And if you're a beginner, I want to say that this wouldn't take you no more than 3 hours total to do for a extreme beginner. For someone that's intermediate, it probably wouldn't take you no more than 2 hours to do. Advanced sewers, you guys will probably get this done in like an hour and a half max because it's only 4 pattern pieces and nothing that you really need to think about doing. All right. So yes, so that is, the instructions are easy to follow. Let's get into the likes and dislikes for this pattern. I have no dislikes whatsoever. This is another pattern that I enjoyed making. And guess what? I plan on making at least 2 more of this. I want to make one in a print. And I also want to make one in like a black, simply because I just feel like I need to make one of these in a black fabric as well. And of course I will use flannel for the fall time. So expect to see at least 2 more of these in the fall. All right. All right. So let's talk about first time experiences. Did I have any first time experiences? Okay. So I'm going to say no and yes. No, because everything that I had to do in order to make this are things that I have done before. Yes, because I have never sewn a pullover style tunic like this. Like, I do not have anything where it zips all the way up like this, where you could just pop your collars.
Ever since I can remember, I've been popping my collar, popping my collar, popping my collar.
I just have not done that. So yes and no. No, it's not a first time, experience in making or doing any of the sewing techniques. But yes, it is the first time that I have done a tunic or this style of top. So yes and no for first time experiences. All right. Pattern recommendation for tops that you could sew with 5 pattern pieces or less. I'm only going to give one recommendation because I have done this pattern, and the recommendation that I'm going to give is McCall's 8161, which is also McCall's 7542. Now this pattern came out a long time ago and McCall's reissued this pattern, right? So that is the recommendation, and I'm going to put the photos of when I made this pattern in a red and white stripe Toy Story fabric last year. I made this top during my summer skirt series last year, and I thought it was an amazing pattern. And actually, every view on that pattern is 5 pieces or less. So it just makes sense that you can use this pattern and do all the views on the pattern envelope, and it'll still be 5 pieces or less. All right, so let's talk about what I sewed this again. Well, I just kind of said that already. Yes, I will be sewing this again in the fall, transition into winter time here in Orlando. I mean, and I would probably use another flannel in order to sew this tunic again, because it was quick and easy and it fits the bill. And I just think 2 more in my closet would be good. All right. So let's talk about would I recommend this pattern to others? Yes, I would recommend this to my beginners, any intermediate or advanced sewers. I will recommend this pattern to you. I thought it was a fabulous pattern. It fits the bill. It's easy to sew. Also, speaking of easy to sew, this is a level 2 McCall's easy to sew or learn to sew pattern. And I think the reason why it's a level 2 is because you're installing an exposed zipper and you're also putting an elastic as well. So instead of just getting the level 1 pattern like McCall has, they have this listed as a level 2 pattern. But yes, I would recommend it to others to try and sew up as well. All right, so let's talk about my pattern rating. So my pattern rating for this pattern, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I love this pattern. I'm going to make it at least 2 more times this fall. So stay tuned for that. Well, that's all that I have for this episode. You can call it episode, item, series, or installment, whatever you want to call it, of the 5 and Below series. Like I said, this is the second video as part, and the second item as part of the 5 and Below series. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell so you are notified every time I upload a new video. Also, do not forget to go over to Talisha from Creativity by T's channel. See what she sewed up this week on her take on tops as well. All right. So, like I said, you have to come back next week when we have another garment that we will be sewing. It'll be a different category. So we already did outer garment. We have done tops already. So next week, it's another category where Talisha and I will show you another pattern, 5 pattern pieces or below. So stay tuned for that, which will be next week, March the 20th. So I'll catch you in the next video. And as always, keep sewing.